things would you like to see change or improve in Korean society in the next 10 years?
They do accept other cultures, but
Do you feel like you will ever regret not having kids?
I think after seeing my sister raising kids,
Have you experienced discrimination being in an international marriage? There's so many services that you can't do just because in-laws are a lot more involved. I'm waiting. No pressure. Hey
Hello guys.
It's been a hot minute since we've done a Q&A. And we asked you guys on Instagram, what kind of questions do you have about living in Korea? Being an intercultural couple, having in-laws from different culture, choosing to be child-free, etc., etc. So we chose some of our favorite questions and we're going to answer them in this video.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's just get into them. First question, what are the best things about living in Korea? For me, it's convenience and everything is very accessible.
Very true.
Yeah. Public transportation is great. You don't need a car and you can get anything pretty much anytime.
I think medical system.
Oh, yes. The medical system is so much better here compared to Canada, I think, at least Nova Scotia where I'm from. You pay like a monthly amount for like the national health insurance. Let's say I wanted to go to a doctor for like I think I have an ear infection. I would just go to an ENT directly, choose one by myself. I wouldn't have to go through like the family doctor route and they have to like decide if I get to go and then I'm on a wait list to see a specialist and yeah, those are the two things for me for sure.
That thing I still don't understand in Canada.
Me either.
The family doctor process.
Not a fan. What is the custom of taking the husband's last name in Korea? There is no custom of taking your husband's last name in Korea. The wife will keep her last name, husband keeps his last name, but the kids get the husband's last name, right?
Yeah.
Usually.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do changing Korean last name, then your name is gonna be like Korean.
Very
Ishera.
Korean.
Yeah.
Ishera. But no, it's generally not done. I do know some foreign women living in Korea married to Korean men who did change their last names, but because it's not done here, it's a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
No matter if I married like a Canadian guy or a Korean guy, I was not going to change my last name anyway. How did you know you were sure about not wanting to have kids? For me, it's pretty simple. I just simply don't have the want, like at all. I don't desire to spend that huge chunk of my life raising another human being. I know that I don't have like the mental, physical, financial capacity to do it. So it's like, no thanks.
I mean, for me, growing up, I didn't really care much about kids. I have a sister and I knew his sister always wanted to have kids.
That's like my mom.
And she now has 2 kids. I think after seeing my sister raising kids, I realized this is not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my nephew and niece. I can play with them and spend time with them, but...
and then go home and leave the rest of the responsibilities to your sister.
I realize I have limits.
You got to be on the same page and talk about it early. We talked about this like 10 years ago when our first dating, so it's not something you just like discuss after you get married, guys. You need to have that discussion like early on. How was Kyuho able to be in the army if he's colorblind? A lot of people ask this question.
All Korean men have to go through this physical test and then they will rank you. Level 1 will be basically perfect body to join the army. And then starting from level 4 is you have a little bit of kind of handicap or disabilities. So you go to close by like district office and you just serve time there.
Not like active duty, right?
No, however, you do have to join the basic training.
Oh, yeah.
I got level 3, which is my body sucks, but I still have to join the army. Because of my color blindness and back then I was really skinny. So underweight.
And your sight's not good.
And my sight's not good, so all 3 things. So I got level 3 and I had to join.
Like it's mandatory service, it's not like voluntary enlistment.
Exactly.
So.
That will pretty much send anyone. Yeah, unless you have some kind of problem with your heart.
Yes.
Or if you don't have fingers. So, level 3.
Quick little commercial break, guys. We want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring and making this video possible. We've been using them for a couple years and they come in really, really handy when we're filming and editing our videos. I need to do a lot of color grading, so it's really helpful that they have classes on there that dive into the specifics of color grading. There's one in particular that I always go back to and it's called Color Grading for Filmmaking, the Vision, Art, and Science. I always go back to this class in particular because it goes into such detail about different areas, like the color correcting must come first, and then it goes into skin tones and just matching shots, things like that, that make it just so easy to follow.
Skillshare is an online learning community and they have tens of thousands of classes.
Yeah, of all different topics that you can possibly imagine. Again, we usually dive into stuff like video editing, color grading, sometimes I do Procreate stuff. So if you want to give Skillshare a try, we have a link in the description box. The first 1,000 people to use it will get a free month of Skillshare Premium. So thank you so much, Skillshare, and let's get back into those questions. When you both fight, who says sorry first?
I feel like I do, because most of the time, like, I
know what you're gonna say.
I do stupid shit is when I'm drunk. So I think it's me.
I think it depends on the situation. But yeah, I think so. I think both of us are pretty good when we know ultimately like it's our fault. Then we'll say like I'm sorry, I was just feeling like this, or I'm sorry, I was just upset because like blah blah blah. Yeah. But we never go to bed angry.
Yeah,
that's like our rule.
Yeah, that's rule number one.
Yeah.
But overall, I think like I'm the one who always has to say sorry.
How do sibling relationships in Korea differ from a sibling relationship in Canada? So different, in my opinion.
Yeah, you guys don't have age hierarchy.
There's no age hierarchy with Canadian siblings. So like, you can't call your sister by her name because you're younger. You call her Nuna, right?
Nuna, yeah, your older sister.
My brother and I are like BFFs. I'm 3 years older. There's nothing like off limits that he can't say to me just because I'm older. And like even there's a really big difference between the relationship that you and Kevin can have and the relationship that me and your sister can have. Because she's the older sister of you. Even though me and his sister are the same age, I have to speak to her in the respectful way because she's your older sister even though we're both born in the same year. It's very complicated.
Yeah, for me, Kevin is just like a friend.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Any recent funny stories or incidents? The toothbrush mishap was so funny. So this person must have watched like a Q&A a while ago. Long story short, Kyuho was colorblind and there was this one time where he had a blue toothbrush and I had a purple one. One morning I went to brush my teeth and I was like, why is my purple toothbrush wet? And Kyuho said, that's purple? So basically that means the whole time we were both using the same toothbrush for like 2 weeks. So for other incidents like that, I guess if we're talking about colorblind stuff, there was this time over the summer in Canada where you took this red colored twist tie off of the bread bag and you put it on the counter. And I could see you later on in the kitchen like struggling. And I was like, what are you doing? And you were like, I just put the twist tie here. And I said, it's right here in front of you. Because the counter color was like brownish and the twist tie was like this reddish. When they're together, he can't distinguish the red because you can't see red side.
I thought those twist ties had like legs or something. It just ran away.
Yeah, there's other times where like you will just slightly mess up the word on something and completely change the meaning to something hilarious. Like there was this time where we were talking about, I think you were saying, yeah, we can't keep everything in our house because then we're gonna be a hodor. And I was like, you mean a hoarder? I guess like we had Game of Thrones on the mind because that was when the last season was airing and like you just said, I don't want to be a hodor. What things would you like to see change or improve in Korean society in the next 10 years?
Accepting difference. I think the world is becoming more diverse and also Korea is changing fast. I hope more people kind of accept they do accept other cultures, but just different people. Yeah.
It's still pretty like homogeneous.
Yeah.
I think mine is, there's kind of like a narrower definition of success here. And if you don't fit into that, then you feel like kind of a failure. Which is kind of sad because like everyone has their own like passions and talents and aptitudes, but it's kind of unfair. Like if I don't fit into like this definition of like what is successful, then I'm a loser.
Yeah.
Basically.
I see.
I wish that would kind of change. I think it is. Yeah, compared to when I first came here. Since you guys are self-employed, what's stopping you from moving to Canada for a while? Man, it would be really expensive if we did just like pick up and move to Canada for a few months, we would have to pay rent in 2 places because we'd have to hold on to our place here, and then we had to apply for all your visa stuff, and then we had to find a place to live in Canada.
And Beemo.
Yeah, and Beemo, we have to get all his paperwork and then be all stressful taking him over, and then we have to make sure that my visa doesn't expire here. So it's just like, it's definitely not as easy as you think it'll be. It's very expensive and just a lot of like paperwork and stress to go through.
Yeah.
How many hours a week do you guys spend working to produce your videos?
I think filming about like 3 days, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And then
Depending on the video.
yeah, editing will take about also 2-3 days.
Yeah. I mean, the footage we have is usually like an hour and a half, and then we like edit it down into like 15 minutes. Music, captions, color grading, subtitles, thumbnail. It's just a lot that you don't see. So it's fun, but it's time consuming for sure. More than you would think. Is being child-free becoming more normal in Korea?
I would say yeah. Yeah.
Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world. It's very common.
Even I can see around my friends, or like some of my friends are debating whether to have or not. You know, I'm sure a long time ago they didn't have that kind of option. They just had to marriage equals children. But now
it's no longer seen as mandatory in Korea. Like real fast it happened, because when we first got married, people were just shocked 8 years ago.
Yeah. Some of them actually thought you were pregnant because we married so young.
We were still like in our mid to late 20s. And in Korea, that's considered young to get married, because like the average age of marriage here for women is like 32.
Something like that.
And men is like 34, 35. So like you're in your early to mid 30s. So they thought it was a shotgun wedding, but it is way more common now and like just kind of accepted more, I think.
Yep.
Do you feel like you will ever regret not having kids? I feel like there's the assumption that only the choice not to have kids, you can have regrets. But realistically, you can have regrets whether you choose to have kids or whether you choose not to have kids. Both of them have the possibility of regret. But I feel like so many people assume that if you choose to have kids, there's no chance of regretting it, because it's just like the standard. Even I know some people, they regret having kids. I know people in my life who regret having kids. Yeah. They love their kids, but they always say, I love my kids, but if I had known what I know now, I wouldn't have had them. Of course, it's not everybody, and it doesn't take a lot of searches on Reddit to see these conversations of regretful parents. Like, it exists, and it's just becoming a little finally less taboo to talk about. But I think we need to like stop assuming that only one of those choices have the possibility of regret, because no matter what kind of decision you're going to make, it has a possibility of regret attached to it. Yeah. Based on what I know that I want in like my life, our future, and like the kind of person I am and we are, I don't think so. But I would rather regret not having a kid than regret having a kid, personally. Very curious about your thoughts on the current Korean housing market, renting or buying. It is crazy expensive, especially if you're living in Seoul. Like, there's no way we could ever buy even like a small villa or apartment here. The average cost of an apartment in Seoul is like over 1 billion won, which is like almost $1 million.
Even if you get a loan, you just have to be paying back that loan for like 30-40 years.
Yeah, and the rent is also like going up. Yeah, it's expensive. But you know, I heard rent in Canada is skyrocketing too, so it's like an everywhere thing.
Yeah.
Is there ever burnout from creating for you guys, from concept to editing to posting? I mean, sometimes I think so.
I think there are times when actually 8 times we decided to quit YouTube.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Several times.
Because of not just burnout, but it's probably like the beginning of our YouTube journey, and we weren't making any money and we're getting a lot of hate comments. So we were thinking like, what's the point of doing this?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think I do get kind of creative burnout, but I think it's completely normal when you're in like any kind of creative industry. And I think it comes in like cycles.
That's right.
Yeah. Have you experienced discrimination being in an international marriage?
I wouldn't call it discrimination, but it's more of sometimes like difficulties.
In a lot of the government systems, international couples / foreigners are just kind of an afterthought still. There's a lot of things that makes it difficult for us to get certain kinds of paperwork. We can't just simply print it off. We have to go all the way to like particular offices in person because my name is written in English.
And also your like banking system, sometimes you have to go in person to make the stock account.
Yeah, like if I want to buy and trade stocks from America as a foreigner, it's really difficult to do that here. And I've heard only 1 or 2 banks offer it, and you have to go in person. And I've heard from other foreigners that the bank tellers are so unfamiliar with it that they don't even know how to do it. And they have to like call their supervisors, and their supervisors say, no, we can't do that. But the website says they can do it. So it's always like an afterthought, and the systems aren't caught up with foreign names and like English. You know, I wasn't registered to get my vaccine here because I have an English name, and you know, not being able to have like certain types of bank accounts. And when I first moved here, foreigners had a really hard time getting like phone plans.
That's true.
We had to go to this like seedy place in Itaewon, like all foreigners went to. There's so many services that you can't do just because your name is in English characters or your name is too many characters. Because in Korea, there's a character limit to sign up for lots of different accounts and things here. Because Koreans only have like 3 characters, usually.
Usually, yeah.
So there's some things that did get a lot better, but there's so many things that it's just a long way to go. What's it like dealing with in-laws from a different culture? I mean, generally in Korea, I think in-laws are a lot more involved in their adult children's lives, and I think a lot of Westerners like don't feel comfortable with that amount. But your parents are just so chill and so busy with their own stuff.
Just too busy to pick up my phone calls.
But they respect our boundaries, and I appreciate it so much. But I know that, you know, there's a community of people here married to Koreans, and that is one of their #1 concerns and struggles that they have is with like the in-laws. Like the culture is so different, and they think they have like a say in these major things about the young couple's lives, but they're adults, and there's a lot of pushback. And I think it's important to set boundaries early on in like the relationship and the marriage. And it might be a bit bumpy at first, but if you set early boundaries and let them know what you're comfortable with and not, it's 2 different cultures. Like both sides are going to have to compromise somewhat. It's not just because, you know, you're living in this country, so you have to be 100% this, and like vice versa. That's not an intercultural marriage.
That is unfair. Me with your in-laws, like, what culture? I'm just another son.
Yes. Yeah.
From another continent.
What shocked you the most while teaching Korean children? Yeah, I did teach English to Korean kids for several years. I haven't done it for several years now, but I think the most shocking thing for me was how stressed they are.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I have only taught in Seoul, so I don't know what it's like in other provinces, but the amount of academics that these kids have to juggle is just beyond. I don't know how kids can handle that. They're not getting enough sleep. They have so much homework. They have several academies. I'm not saying all Korean kids, but it was really, really hard for me sometimes. Like, it really broke my heart that these kids don't even get to be kids, and they don't get to go home after school and just play outside.
Yeah.
What is Sarah's favorite sign of affection from Kyuho? Somehow you just always know exactly what snacks I'm craving and when. And you don't even ask me if I want it. You just bring them home, and it's like exactly what I wanted.
That's because our periods are synced.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, you're like, are you having your period soon? I want chocolate. Maybe that's what it is. But I always appreciate that. I think it's just so sweet.
Thank you.
I don't have anything?
No.
The fact that you have to think this long is very insulting, by the way.
No, there's so many. I don't know which one to choose.
Sure, nice answer. I'm waiting. No pressure.
For me, it's in the morning, you always kind of like come like this.
Oh, yeah.
I like your
My robot.
Yes.
You don't even let me hug you normally. You're just like, and you fling my arms away.
It's really cute. I like it. I know we both are kind of just like half asleep, and then you just kind of coming in.
Sarah, do you still have some culture shock in Korea? I wouldn't say culture shock, but I would say there are definitely things that I know I will never be able to like adapt to it. Something like that.
Okay.
I guess that's like, for me, age hierarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Not a fan. I feel like it just kind of puts up walls between relationships that could otherwise be like very close.
Very true.
But again, this is from like a Western person who never grew up in Korea. But it's just something that I know I'll never get used to. I've just kind of accepted it. And I do my best to navigate society doing that, but I just, not a fan. Yeah.
I understand, yeah.
How is Beemo? I always wait for updates about his health in your videos. I hope he's better. So for a bit of context, Beemo for the last like year and a half has had like declining health, and we found out he very likely has severe IBD. Finally, after all this time, we found a great vet who specializes in cats, and he's been on meds for the last couple months that have helped him a lot. He's gained a lot of weight, but recently he's had like a little flare-up, so it's like a little bit of up and down, but he's been a lot better than he was like by far.
Right now he's just sleeping.
Yeah, it's his nap time. It's his like early evening nap time.
He's gonna bother us later.
Yeah. But thanks for asking. There were a lot of questions about Beemo.
We'll always update you guys.
Alright guys, that is it for the questions.
Thank you so much for all these interesting questions. We had a blast.
Sorry, when you said we had a blast, it didn't sound like because he's tired.
Sorry, we've been filming for an hour.
It's been over an hour talking. My voice is getting tired.
Now we have to edit subtitle.
Korean subtitles.
Anyway, guys, let's not make this video longer. Bye.
Guys, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.